We had a great conversation, and just something about him. I don't know that when we talk, just over the years, even back when I was a kid, and especially recently, every time I talk to him, there's just a spirit about him that always would draw me to him. And he ended up telling my dad, there's a spirit about Casey, and there's a positivity about him, and we kind of just had that connection, and so. Man, it was a no-brainer for me. I just knew if they were interested, I was coming. So it was my idea to pick up the phone and call the coaching staff. It was my idea. I remember telling my dad, you know, um, if I get this extra year of eligibility for the NCAA, like I'm gonna go to OU for my last year. And at first he was like, well, what makes you think that? Like, what makes you think that's gonna happen? I was like, I don't know. I just have a good feeling about it. Like, and I had a list of questions and things that I wanted to talk about, when I made the phone call. And I just remember thinking about it for a few weeks and reflecting and praying. This started probably back around Thanksgiving, like the month of November. I was thinking about it when I came home for Thanksgiving. And then so reflecting, praying, talking to my family for about a month. Finally, I was just like, I'm going to hop in the transfer portal. And I'm literally waiting one day at a time. And I'll wait for that phone to buzz. And eventually they called, and then that was it. So I just took a leap of faith, and I think it's important to have confidence in yourself, not only as a believer, but as a person. And so I believe in what I can do as a player. I have a lot of game experience, but I really think that this opportunity and just how it all happened was a blessing in disguise. Not even 6 months ago, I was laying down in Death Valley, Clemson, on the field with the torn ACL, and you look up 4 months later and you're getting ready to come back home and be at OU. So it's a blessing in disguise for sure, and we're all happy about it. But I would definitely say, if it wasn't for my faith and my belief in Jesus Christ and just having a good family and a good foundation, I don't think that anybody would thought this would have happened. So it's crazy how it all happened. And everything happens for a reason, so I just think it's definitely a really cool experience, and I think that the way it happened, I couldn't have never planned it or prepared for it.
How do you think, when this all said and done, you will have worn some of the most iconic jerseys ever? Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska. Nothing against Fort Atlantic, but those three alone.
Yeah, no.
All those gonna be hanging up in your den somewhere. I mean, is that something? I mean, that's.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people. I don't think anybody can say that.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think about it, and when I talk to my dad and my family, we talk about it, and just someday just having a trophy room or having those jerseys and having those pictures framed will be very iconic. But just to grow up in Oklahoma and to come back and finish in Oklahoma, I just think it's a full circle deal in a moment. Like I said, for my family and I, and I'll be able to someday tell my kids, the stories. But it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy because without going to one place, that would have never led me to the next place. And everything happens for a reason. And like I said, you just can never prepare for moments like this. But it'll be very meaningful for me to have this, Oklahoma Sooners jersey on the front and to have the Thompson name on the back. But a lot of people don't know is, when people ask why'd you go to Oklahoma, since I was a kid, I've always wanted to play for a very good head coach as far as a believer and a good man who stands by the word, who believes in discipline, accountability, and who does things the right way. And so far, everything that I've ever wanted from a team and from a coach, I've gotten right here at Oklahoma. And so it's definitely important to me. Someday, whenever I coach or become a trainer or a quarterback, trainer for my kids, I think it's important that I use a lot of these principles and values I've learned from Coach Venables and just from my college experience. And so, like I said, obviously you can tell I'm happy that I'm here, and everything is going good so far. I have zero complaints. Like, at other places I've been in the past, other teams I've been on, other coaches I've had, you may have complaints about the scheduling or the workouts or the runs and the lifts or the food, but man, everything here has been incredible, and I truly mean that, and I know that because I've been with a lot of different coaching staffs and a lot of different teams, and what we have here is special.
Go ahead. You've played for two of OU's biggest rivals.
Mm-hmm.
Was it weird being on the other side of that because of your Oklahoma heritage?
Well, it's almost like if you grow up with, a lot of people you went to school with, and then you go play against them. It's almost like you're kind of like over here and they're over there, and you can look across and you see a lot of familiar faces that coaches and players, and so it was a little bit different. I would say it was weird at first for me. My first few years of college, it was always like, because you think about it, like I literally grew up 15 minutes down the street, and so anytime I come back for a bye week or for holidays or a break, you land in Oklahoma and you see the OU logo at the airport, and you see everybody drive around town with it, and it's everywhere. You can't escape it.
Did you wear Texas gear?
When
When
I
you
was
came back?
there.
Yeah,
Oh,
when you
no.
come back here, did you wear Texas gear?
Man, I would always wear the stuff I had to for school and stuff, but I would say it was weird because, growing up here and living here for 18 years and then going to play for different teams, you can't really wear red as much. You can't really wear crimson and cream as much. And it's crazy because, like, I'm a Nike and I'm a Jordan guy.
Yeah.
And I've worn Nike and Jordan, like, at every facility I've been in. And I come back here and we're sponsored by it, so I can wear it freely. But I would say it took a little bit of adjustment and getting used to. But in the back of my mind, I mean, this is OU, so you're always going to have the respect, for OU in high regards. But it was pretty cool to be able, like I said, to come back for sure. And the biggest thing that I always would worry about, I was like, would I have a regret if someday when I finish my college career, I'm not able to just, like, my family, my dad's going to wear his OU hat and he's going to, have his house decked out with crimson and cream the rest of his life. And my brother went to OU, obviously Kendall, so he's going to be a football, OU fan the rest of his life. And I'm just like, it would be weird if I wasn't, like, able to do the same thing. So just being able to, like I said, to finish my career here is very meaningful, and it would be a big deal.
Or Newcastle.
That's the thing. Even with like Newcastle, like, I only went to Newcastle for 4 months.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a sophomore Sabre Cat. I grew up in Moore, Oklahoma. I was born in Oklahoma City, moved to Moore, and then went to Southmore for 3 years. But going to Newcastle, like, I was literally there from August to December. And so, like, when people say Newcastle, that doesn't really, like, register in my heart because, I was at Southmore for 3.5 years. And that's kind of how I felt about OU the whole time. Just growing up here, I literally go home and my dad's house is like, I see Barry Switzer in the dining room, I see Bob Stoops in the living room, I see my dad and Jamel Holloway in his, little trophy room and stuff. So just being able to come back is a very big deal. But I was telling BB when I got here, I had never seen this new Switzer Center, and I hadn't been in this facility since 2017, back whenever OU was in the portables across the street.
Yeah.
And so it's been a long time, for sure. It's just nice to be back.
As two of the guys two of the rare guys who have played for Texas and Oklahoma, have you talked to Brennan at all? Have you guys kind of shared?
Yeah. The first day I got back, I saw him and we immediately, dapped it up and hugged each other because I hosted him on his official visit, summer of 2021, in Austin, Texas. And so obviously I left shortly after that, but just to reconnect and come here and to see him, it was really good to, just chop it up with him and to talk about his experience and, what it means for him to be here and why he came here and the same reasons, why I'm here. He wants to be around, like I said, wants to be around a good coach with a good team, a good culture, a good locker room. And he's loved it so far, and he has nothing but positive things to say. And it was just good for us to be able to, talk about our experiences. And we sit down and we eat lunch and breakfast together, and we have meals, and we talk. We kind of just talk about things that we've learned. And I think perspective is everything, and just being able to learn from everything that you go through is important. And he's definitely done that, and I've done that as well. But I know there's not a lot of people who do that, where they're going from OU to Texas or Texas to OU. But just, hearing his story and talking to him, we definitely share that in common as well. But it's just crazy because the last time I saw him, I was hosting him on a visit. And, being able to come here and just be with him is a pretty cool deal. And his locker is, like, right by mine in the locker room, so we just talk all the time about different things.
Have you let your mind kind of wander to that game in October and what that'll be like, kind of being having been in it before, but now flipping to the other sideline, I guess, or the other end of the bowl, I guess?
Well, I mean, the Red River rivalry, is iconic. You know, I argue with people around the country like that's the biggest rivalry in college football. But no, but until you said that, I haven't been thinking about it too much. But just some of the guys that I talk to here, whether they're freshmen or transfers, and they just say like, "What's that game like?" And I just tell them like, it's just there's no words that can describe it. I get goosebumps talking about it. I've grown up going to that game as a kid and at the Cotton Bowl and the State Fair of Texas, and I know what that means. I know what that week is about. I know what I-35 is going to look like. I know what the commercials and the radio stations are going to be like, and I know what Dallas, Texas is going to be like. Going downtown and seeing all the hotels, decked out in signs and stuff. So that's going to be a very, that's going to be a great experience to be, back at that game. I just can't wait for the crowd and the environment. And the only time I think about it is if they show highlights like on TV of the game from last year or rewatch film or something. But I've had my best, some of my best moments as a football fan and a football player in that stadium, and so I'm excited to be back, as in that game as a player.